Hello again, everyone. Michael here with Felicity, November 8033 Fox, a Cessna flight training device that I built right here at home. It is Tuesday, 21st February 2023. I do hope everyone has had a good day since we spoke and flew yesterday. We ended up in somewhere in Canada with the Virtual USA Flying Club, and we had our Cessna ferried all the way over to Forks, Washington. Well, during the 8 hours we were at work today. So we are at Forks, and our plan is just to depart. We're going to head east. Both of these airports were kind of suggested by another GA streamer on Twitch. And hello, Sparky Pilot 86, and that's actually the reference I was just talking about. I popped into one of their streams, and they had pulled up an image of an airport that just looked, really kind of interesting. Power lines and trees. It's Sierra 36 is the identifier. But anyway, in fact, let's just look at it real quick. Actually, before we get involved into the flight aspect of what we're doing, I want to apologize about our delayed start. Normally I vet every airport in X-Plane before we go on a cross-country. Unfortunately, so when I looked at our first stop here, which is Sequoia Valley, Whiskey 28, when I checked that out on the gateway and saw that it was approved in 2020, I figured it would be no big deal. I loaded it up to check it a little bit before our flight. It was a mess. I don't know how else to put it. It was a gosh awful mess. So I completely had to redo that airport from scratch so that we can include that in today's flight. Which brings me to X-Plane scenery. A real quick discussion on X-Plane scenery. A lot of the questions I get from some of my viewers is, what type of scenery do I use? And the answer is always the same. I use ortho photos that I made for free using a free program called Ortho 4XP. I use X-World from Sim Heaven. There's also it's actually X-World America. He has X-World Europe and all various aspects. But I've got X-World America sitting on top of my ortho. So think of X-Plane scenery as nothing but upside down airspace. If you picture a typical, class Charlie, you've got your surface area, and then you've got your first shelf, and then your second shelf. Actually, we might need to use a Bravo, but anyway, we start out, with airspace. We start out small on the ground, and we work our way up into that controlled airspace. X-Plane scenery is almost kind of the opposite. You have your airport, your one item, your very small space, and that sits down on top of your what's called your it's your middle layer, your OSM data. And I've got a picture here. It's gonna kind of so this is kind of everything that your airport sits on. So we've got our designed airport in X-Plane. Our airport sits on top of our overlays, which could be World to X-Plane. It's another developer. But this is what tells X-Plane what we see. Okay. We have a building here, a power line here, we see a tree here, and all of this information is derived from OpenStreetMap data. Rob Valkyrie, hello, welcome, and WestJet, welcome, my friend. Hope you've had a good day. So our middle layer, that's what we see, okay. And then below that, well, our middle layer is more what we see in 3D. We can still see what's below that, and that's where ortho photos and mesh come in. And the easiest way I feel like I can describe that is mesh is what you feel. These are the bumps you feel taxiing down the runway. These are the hills, these are the valleys, these are the mountains. This is your terrain shape. That's mesh. And then we have our mesh, okay, or a shape. Let's make it look like something. Let's put a blanket over it. Okay, enter our ortho photos. It's a top-down image. We'll cover that elevation. We'll cover that mountain. So now we have, this blank texture, this blank, whatever you might want to call it. Um, Stalagmite coming out of the ground for large mountains. We have these shapes. We'll blanket them with something that we can see. We can enter our ortho photos. Now, ortho photos are great. The biggest issue with ortho photos is once you put an ortho photo on top of something in X-plane, okay, it's going to cover that up. The ortho photo then becomes your blanket. So if you were to add an ortho photo directly into X-plane, you can load into X-plane, you can visually see your ortho photo. And it will have a shape because it's still sitting on top of your mesh if you've ordered it correctly. This is not an advertisement or anything. I use X Organizer. Once you start gathering enough ortho scenery, X Organizer is your scenery best friend. Again, this isn't a promotion. I don't know them. I feel like the payware is worth it. So we have our we can make our ortho photo, throw it in there, and we can see it, but we're not seeing anything on top of it because we've just covered that up. So now let's place something on top of our ortho photo, and this is where our well, in my case, SimHeaven comes into play. SimHeaven recently just updated their most recent version 2.1 to be compatible with the most recent version of X-Plane 12 in beta. Just downloaded that. But what SimHeaven does is they take the OSM data. Here's your water. Here's your trees. Here's your road network. Okay, this road is a single lane road. This road is a highway. Okay, there needs to be a bridge right here. So we have all of this OSM data, and then what it does, it takes that data and whatever it does on its back end, it injects that data into X-plane. So now we have trees sitting on top of our ortho photo. We have buildings and whatever sort of item you want to place there, is placed there on top of the ortho photo. Couple versions back, and it might have been even a couple years now. He was able to utilize the Microsoft building footprints. So for those of you that use the it's actually Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. For those of you that use that, all of those buildings aren't stored on your hard drive. You're flying around and it's pulling that data off of the internet. Okay, and it's pulling those building footprints. That's what SimHeaven is doing also. So we have a school here. It draws a school. We have a shopping mall here. You got a shopping mall facade. For VFR flying, I can't emphasize SimHeaven enough. But there's always going to be a caveat. SimHeaven's a third-party developer. There's no guaranteed compatibility. X-plane may come out with another beta or another version, and it may break current add-ons. I highly doubt that would ever be an intentional thing. Seems like whenever that happens, it's generally a hot fix to get that rectified. Can't really spend too much time yakking out here, but alright, so we've got our object sitting on top of our ortho photos. But here's the thing. We have our airports, which of the approximately 40,000 X-plane airports, pretty much 40,000 of them came from X-plane 11. And in X-plane 11, we had autogen scenery. Computer just decided, where to put whatever, and wherever. So we, as X-plane scenery gateway artists, would need to add exclusion zones into these airports to prevent suppose A20 comfortable comfortable and quiet for long flights. I love my A20. It's a noise canceling. I just carry a spare set of batteries, but it's lightweight. I just replaced the air cushions last year, but I've worn it for 8 years prior. 7 to 8 years prior. So yeah, I think it's decent for long flights. I mean, my longest, non-stop, you can say, is probably 4.5 hours in GA. But it wasn't awful at all. Okay, so we had to put these exclusion zones in to prevent roads, buildings, trees from popping up on your runway in X-plane 11. The problem, and I don't want to say it's a problem, the issue now is that with the way X-plane 12 does things, X-plane 12 now uses OSM data to an extent, and it draws everything right up to the airport boundary, which is why the gateway moderator has been so stringent on airport boundaries, because theoretically there's no more need for exclusion zones because your boundary is so tight. There's going to be nothing there. It just won't infringe on the airport boundary. Your OSM data and stuff will just stop at the boundary. So as a result of that new logic, they have completely eliminated and removed all exclusion zones from all airports released in X-plane 12. So what that means is any exclusion zone that an artist installed, or I don't want to say installed, but any exclusion zone that they drew for possible compatibility with third-party software is now no longer there, which is why a lot of, especially those that use SimHeaven, I don't want that, especially for those that use SimHeaven, a lot of times yes, it can, because again, OSM data is only as accurate as whoever puts it in, and this is referring to 12. If you're referring to on X-plane 11, it's just a missing exclusion zone that wasn't overlooked, and generally why they're overlooked. And this is very, very important. If you're thinking about getting into any scenery design whatsoever, this is probably the most important thing that I can possibly tell you. Do all of your testing with all of your other airports disabled. So disable global airports, and do all of your testing with all of your world objects set to maximum, because if you have that slider set to minimum or medium, it's not going to render everything, and you're not going to know if there's going to need an exclusion zone there. So yeah, so that's what I've been having to do a lot lately for me locally, because I use SimHeaven. Is I'll load up an airport. I'll see that it needs a lot of exclusion zones, because I've got SimHeaven drawing facades and objects on top of scenery artist facades and objects, which is what I had to do for our final, which was the name of it is actually Norman Greer Field, but. And I don't know the airport, but It reminds me of um, um, Spruce Creek down in Florida. Like people have a lot of hangar homes. It's going to be a very expensive place to live. Um, um, so it just looks like a residential, almost airport community. So the airport artists, they went through and they drew all the houses and the hangars, right there. But yep, it does. But uh, so is Sim Heaven in X-Plane 12. So I had to go through and add exclusion zones in there for that one, and then completely rework um, Sequium Valley. So yeah, I think that's enough scenery explanation for now. We don't want to spend too much time in the FBO and lose our flight time. So departing out of Forks, we are going to be utilizing the Pilot Edge network to at least grab flight following. Both of these fields are uncontrolled, but we should be able to at least grab flight following between Forks and Sequium Valley. A little bit about Forks, another one of my airports. If you do have X-Plane 12, you will have this airport. If you're in X-Plane 11, it is not there, but it is available on the gateway should you desire it. It does have an east-west runway, 0927, 0422. 2,400 feet long, 75 feet wide. And weather-wise, local, let's see, winds 280, 4 to 17. So we are going to encounter a little bit of wind shear, I'm sure. Squim. Lots of indigenous place names here. It can be tough to pronounce. Okay, good to know. I spent some time in Alaska and got to know a couple Inuits, and sometimes how I would pronounce something is not exactly how they would pronounce it. But thanks for pointing that out so that I can sound more like a local out there. Squim, appreciate that. So yeah, we're going to depart out of Forks and head east. How are we going to get there? Let's see. And I guess if we wanted to, we could depart, head up to the river, and let me just see. Let me do it like this. I do want to thank everyone for coming in and hanging out this evening. Hope everyone's had a decent day. So if we just follow the river, we can go VFR this way, and then see, probably to the north. Go that way. And then from here we should have visual on this body of water. And then we can just kind of follow that water. And then what do we have here? 5 miles. So we should have visual on the coast. And then if we wanted to, we could just follow the coast up. And it looks like we have a delta. Let's see, we could overfly or try and get a clearance through, one or the other. But if we overfly, that'll get us that way. So we could head that way. Might be what we'll do. I just got Washington out of the orthophoto development overnight. So this will be the first time that I'm seeing it in X-Plane 12. But it should be good to go. Let's talk a little bit about our first waypoint, Sequoia Valley. We've got this handy dandy Washington State Airport guide. It's really kind of cool. So if we go to screen 108. Okay. First airport is going to have a field elevation of 152 feet. TPA is your typical 1,000. Runway 0982. Okay, so this one has an east-west runway, 3,500 feet long by 40 feet wide. There's fuel available. Looks like they got right-hand traffic on runway 9. Deer on and in vicinity. It's an alternate turf landing area. Okay, alternate. So there's a grass runway there, apparently. Likely gonna be this short one right there. That's what I would imagine. So that's the first one we're gonna head to. There's no weather reporting. Does look like it has a Unicom frequency of 122.7. Okay. Elevation's 151 feet. Sometimes some of the best information I find about an airport is in the comments section of ForeFlight. Comments and remarks. Wildlife on and in vicinity. Runway 09er has a 6-inch shoulder. Okay. Runway 27 has a fence post 4.5 feet high, 38 foot left of runway center line. That'll be good to know. Self-service fuel is available. Beacon lens color. Okay. Wind indicator. If I remember right, it was the tetrahedron over there. Landing fee. Does it say that in the AFD? Sure does. Alright, well, it's a good thing that virtual avgas is free, because that landing fee is probably expensive. Oh, it's $10. Like I said, expensive. Okay. Okay. So 09er and 27. And let's see. Airport beacon out of service. Beacon light out of service indefinitely. So that's probably why I couldn't find it on any of the imaging that I looked at. Because it's marked that it has a beacon, but none of the satellite imagery that I was looking at showed a beacon anywhere at the field. So I placed a beacon there at the field at my discretion, even though I didn't know exactly where it was and or it could be. Alright, do I have enough info about Sequim to get there? Squeam? 151 feet. Alright. And once we get there, we'll discuss our final, which is going to be Norman Greer Field right here. Oh, alright, let's take a look real quick. I want to see if I can find a fly chart for this Bravo. Let's see. Does Seattle have a fly chart? Does anybody know? Sure does. Those are going to help us. Alright, let's go ahead and keep this. But we'll discuss it real quick. Norman Greer was in... what city is that? Kent. Real quick, let's talk about Norman Greer briefly. Kent. Sierra 36, page 57. Okay. We've got runway 15 and 33. A little bit off of a north-south runway. We do have a tree line, both ends of the field. Elevation for that one's 472 feet. And it also has fuel, and it's 123.0. And that was, what was that one? 15 and 33. Let's take a closer look at this. So we've got a power line easement that comes through just off of the south side. We got power lines that are coming down this way. We've got a tree line. This is right here. So it doesn't say anything about right traffic. So I'm assuming that's what we'll do. So we got these power lines here we definitely need to be cautious of. I'm hoping that we can get over this first set of power lines and drop down in, make kind of a dog leg base, and it's going to kind of almost be a 180 into final. I think that's my plan for that one. And what do people say about Norman Greer? Trees on both sides. Trees on both sides. Night operation used runway 15. Wind and weather permitting. Airport closed when snow is on the runway. Runway numbers are faded. Trees and primary surface. parked aircraft in primary surface both sides of runway. And 3-foot sign, 92 foot left, 27 foot from threshold. Got fuel there. Gonna bring our own tie downs. Sean G says this place is the coolest airport in Washington. Alright, let's go make this happen. I'm ready. I believe the aircraft is ready. I hope I will see you over there in just a moment. Actually, it might take me a minute to get there, but I'll see you there in just a minute. Alright, hello everyone, welcome aboard Felicity. We are on the ramp here at Forks, Sierra 18. Let's do our weight balance and fuel real quick. You and I on board. Let's, I think we need to discuss how much fuel we actually need. I mean, I know I can fill it up and we'll know we have plenty to get there, but I'm curious to know how much we actually need. So, let's work this real quick. We have a total distance of 113 nautical miles. So, 113 nautical miles is our distance. And today, let's say our aircraft's going to cruise at 120. Simply because I don't know the area too well, and I don't know the terrain too well. So let's make our cruise 120. So, we're cruising 120 an hour, and if our aircraft burns, let's say, in Washington, let's say our aircraft's going to burn 18 an hour. So I know that I need at least 18 gallons to do 120 cruise for 1 hour, right?
So, but I always like to give myself a cushion. Uh, we already know that we need at least an extra half hour. That's regulatory stuff. Um, so we need that half hour of fuel. I like to sort of, I kind of like to, if you picture a start point and end point, I kind of like to give myself an extra hour each way. So if my flight time, if it says an hour, I like to carry at least 3 hours of fuel. That's my own personal preference. So 3 hours is going to be, in our case, 57 gallons. No, 54 gallons. 18, 36, yeah, 54 gallons. So that's what I want to take. But since I'm also a little bit OCD, let's round that up to the nearest whole number. Let's take at least 60 gallons of fuel. We're not going to need it, but that's what I want to take. So to do that, we'll put 30 gallons of fuel in each wing, and each of the wings in our 206 hold 44 gallons. Alright, we got you and I on board. For the purposes of today's flight, you and I weigh the same. We'll put our gear in the back. Okay, that works there. Hey Drippy, pleasure to see you. Keep on studying. It's absolutely the best thing to do. And I even use this thing to help me study. You know, we have our, not only do we have our aircraft pre-flight, we have our personal pre-flight here. I'm safe, PAVE. Both of those acronyms, especially your I'm safe one, you know, pertains to you. I'm feeling pretty good, not taking any medication currently. Stress levels alright. Emotionally I'm fine, attitude decent. I'm not fatigued. I mean, I did work pretty hard today, but I'm not fatigued. You know, I feel like we can make this flight. External pressures, you know, other than life, I'm good. Yeah. So, nothing wrong with studying. Okay. Our good friends at Checkmate Aviation came through today with our Cessna U206 Golf checklist. Great people to work with over the last 20 years or so of their 30 years. That's how long I've been in this flight simulation thing. Probably longer than that. See, when did Microsoft Flight Simulator 4.0 come out? Alright, enough giving away my age. Okay, for the duration of this flight, since I don't know the terrain, I am going to ask that you please keep your seatbelt fastened. If you do get uncomfortable, please let me know so that we can go ahead and terminate the flight. Let's go ahead and do a quick walk around. Let's get our lights on. And the bigger picture shows us we don't have any oil leaks. Our tires are inflated. Gear is good. We have a green on the right with the strobe. Taxi light, landing light. Red on the left with the strobe. And we have our white tail light and our beacon in the rear. Okay, what else? Flight controls, which it's a good thing we do pre-flight, because I did forget to turn those on. They are on now. Let's get all of our loads off so we don't kill our battery. Flight controls, ailerons, up on the right, down on the left, up on the left, down on the right. Our tail elevator's working, and our rudder's working. Okay, let's check our fuel caps, make sure we've got those on, installed, and in a streamlined fashion. They are. Our VFR antennas are in place. Okay. Let's get back in the aircraft. Alright, pre-flight, walk around, all that good stuff's good. I do want to thank everyone for coming in and hanging out this evening as we make our way across Washington. Cow flaps open. So now that we have our official checklist, we no longer need to use our 182 checklist. Don't tell the FAA did that. I mean, almost everything was the same. The numbers were a little bit off. So interior and exterior is already done. Let's grab our tech time is 23.5, and our alternate static is off. Let's get scooted up here. Let's move right along to our start checklist. Avionics are off, autopilot's off, cow flaps are open, mixture is full rich, prop is high, throttle's all the way out, brakes are on, clear prop, it's clear in the left, and clear in the right, and clear up front. Okay, master's on, beacon's going on, fuel pump, rich, and fuel pump off. And mags to start, we're looking for oil pressure, here we go. Okay, oil pressure's good. Oil temperature's up, coming up. Okay, alright, let's get our landing light on for safety. Seatbelts, we'll get mine on in a minute. Flaps are up. Don't need to worry about the heat right now. Let's get our avionics on. Let's see if we can grab some weather. Looks like we might have a broken layer up there, 4,800 feet. Calm winds, temperature 5, 2.1, 29045 is the altimeter it states. So let's put in 29045. Shows us a field elevation of, what is that? 280 feet or so, 299 feet, so we're close enough. I'd say that weather information is fairly accurate. I wish I knew what that noise was. It sounds like my cow flaps, but when I look at my cow flaps, they're not moving at all. Alright, what else do we need to do real quick? Need to connect to our Pilot Edge network. And then we're going to do a radio check. It's been a minute since I've connected to Pilot Edge. We are type 206. That's okay.
Connected to Pilot Edge.
Don't forget the tie downs. Man, good call. That thing gets me every time. Thanks, M. Stein. Appreciate that. Okay, let's do a radio check. 123.45. It does. But my cow flaps also make the same thing. Make the same noise. So I don't know if this is something else using the same sound or not. What's our oil temp? Oil temperature's in the green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Radio test. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that's because Pilot Edge requires a different push to talk. So let's see, this one here. Tell you what, manage profiles. Let's see, create a new profile. We're gonna call this U206 Pilot Edge. Okay. And then I'll edit that to contact ATC. The old contact ATC, not the new contact ATC push to talk, but the original one. Radio test. Radio test. Alright, sounds like that's working. Guess I could contact flight service for flight following. Gosh. Must be something up with the axis. The cow flap axis. That's what we'll try and do. We'll try and contact Seattle radio. 122.25. Try and grab flight following. There's no VORs between here and our destination. Okay. Winds were calm, so I guess we can take either runway we want. Alright, what are we missing here? Altimeter we set, transponders on, no Charlie. ADSB is tied into our nav lights, let's get those on. Brakes we'll test on the roll, as well as our altitude and turn coordinator. Heading indicator to compass, let's make sure that's set. Okay. I think we're just about ready. Alright, park brake off. Manual brake test. Alright, brakes are good. To 2.9 with CTAF. The cool thing about Forks is that sometimes it's also used as a drag racing strip. That's why all these Jersey barriers are in here. Forks traffic, November 803 Foxtrot, taxi 04, Forks. Alright. Hold short, yep, okay. Let's get our strobes on, do a quick run up. Temperature is 5 degrees, so it's cold enough. We don't need to point into the wind or anything like that. Fuel, tell you what, let's get our fuel on the left tank for now. Okay, fuel's on the left tank. Trim is neutral. Rudder trim, neutral. Light controls down on the right, up on the left, down on the left, up on the right. Elevator, rudder's free and correct. Okay. Instruments. Everything's looking good there. 1700. Here we go. Brakes are on. Left mag, there's a bit of a drop. Right mag, there's our drop. Back to both, cycle the prop. 1, 2. Looking for an oil pressure drop, manifold pressure rise. Tells me the governor's working in the prop. 3. Alright, prop cycle's good. I like to do it 3 times. You don't have to do it 3 times. I just like to. Suction's in the green. Oil temperature, oil pressure's good. Good fuel flow. Cylinder head temperature's looking decent. Alright, internal friction looks good. Idle back. Okay. 063 would be our direct heading. keep that in there just in case. But we're going to be looking for this river in the body of water. Alright, here we go. Strobes are on. Brakes are off. Forks traffic, November 8033 Foxtrot is taking runway 04 straight out departure Forks. Get my seatbelt on. Alright, lined up the center line. Winds were calm, no need for wind correction. Alright, let's ease into that throttle and help the rudder on our takeoff roll. Here we go. Rotates 50. And we're off. Positive rate. Obstacles. Clear obstacle. Alright, we got visual on my river. Where are we at? Oh, waypoint. Alright, we're 700 over. Let's get over to our river there. These tributaries are kind of small and hard to see. Yeah, it looks like we do have a broken layer up there. Maybe 5,000 feet. So we're just gonna keep it low as long as we can. Alright, let's get up to 3,000 feet for now. Once we get to our final, once we get to our final, time permitting, we're going to depart again and do some air work. We've tried, we've done stalls, power on, power off stalls in the 206. We've done stall spins in the 206. So let's try and hang it on the prop. See how she does. If there's time. I just want to make sure we get there. I'm not going to try that now. The imagery source I use for our ortho photos today is from ARC imagery, which is generally what most airports are developed on, is ARC imagery. I mean, you always have the option of using Bing Maps or Google, different image sources, but I prefer ARC because that's what most things are designed on, OSM, airports. So I'm changing my landmark. I'm going to follow this road out. It's a little bit easier for me to distinguish because this little tiny creek is not done in OSM, so it's not rendered as water in X-plane. So we'll go up here to 101, just follow that east for a little bit. Let's try it. Let's see if we can get somebody on Seattle radio. I'm not sure if they monitor Seattle radio or not. Seattle radio, November 8033 Foxtrot. Yeah, I don't think they do radio service. Could be wrong. But I think it's just Class Bravo and Charlie coverage. Check that real quick. Okay. Okay, so radio service is a no. Let's see, what's that delta there? Port Angeles, CLM. Just curious if that's on there. No, okay. So that'll be alright. We can just overfly that then. Yeah, I think I like this route a little bit better. Keep this kind of in the valley here. And then once we cross this body of water, what can we do? Can we stay with 101? Looks like we can. I can stay with 101. Follow that north to Port Angeles. Be right along the coastline there. Rob, I don't know if you're watching still, but the SimHeaven update did take care of the those texture issues with the X-Plane 12 beta. So thanks for pointing that out earlier. Both of these airports that we're going to, they'll be available for download on my Discord hangar if you use SimHeaven and if you want the exclusion zones. I mean, I definitely recommend you download the Scrim one simply because the other one was. Let me just talk about that for a minute. I'm not saying anything bad about the CNA artist. I don't know who did it. I don't know who did the airport. Yeah, this could have been their very first one. I don't know. The issues were that there were no hold short lines, taxiways, between the taxiways and the runways. So those needed to be there. There was a metallic perimeter fence that surrounded the entire airport, including the arrival ends of the runways, literally right at the end of the runway. And as I couldn't find any signs of a fence existing there at the airport, I asked a couple of people if they had a visual cue, and so the general consensus is there was no fence. So I removed the fence from the airport, completely reworked it, and it fits a lot nicer with the window. Right, here's our body of water. Alright, I see 101. straight ahead, across another little body of water. That's our heading. Alright, what's on our cruise checklist? Let's go ahead and close our cow flaps, throttle, prop. Especially, let's go ahead and pull our prop back just a little bit and lean our mixture out just a little bit. There we go. Fuel is on proper tank, we're good there. Situational awareness, nothing on the annunciator panel, oil pressure, oil temperature both good. Suction is good, we are charging. Good manifold pressure, good fuel flow. I would like to thank everyone again for coming in and hanging out this evening. I always love flying with you all. You make doing this a lot of fun. Greatly appreciate it. Alright, looks like it splits up here. We're going to want to make a left turn. Alright, while my left wing is lifted, I'm looking to the left, making sure that my path is clear. Alright, looks clear that way. I don't see any traffic. Good thing we made that turn too. There's a pretty nasty cloud right there. This is Port Angeles. This is where Bella was nearly attacked by 3 guys, and that shiny vampire, what's his name, Edward, came to her rescue in that saga. That was a big thing, like 15 years ago maybe. So So off to our left then is going to be William Fairchild International. Kilo Charlie Lima Mike. Got some clouds rolling in. Well, we're almost 10 miles from our first field. Let's go ahead and start initiating a descent. What's on our descent checklist? Throttle, manifold pressure as required. Make sure it's going to go rich. Cowl flaps are closed. Let's pull some power back. Zero niner and 2-9er, 122.7. I thought there was something about right traffic. Okay, 0-9er is right traffic. So that would be 27B left traffic, right? Okay, so we can do it like that. Squim traffic, November 8033 Foxtrot is about 8 miles east of the field, 1,700. Going to be landing runway 27 on Squim. Actually, I want to overfly the field first. I want to see what it looks like. Like, I know what it looks like because I did it. I want to see what it looks like from the air. Especially the writing. It says Squim Valley. Right there on the tarmac. Squim traffic, November 8033 Foxtrot. We're now about 6 miles west. I'm going to be overflying the field to make a right downwind. 0-9er Squim. So pattern's going to be about 1100, I think. Where are we at now? About 1300. We're alright. That's kind of the goal, but thank you, I appreciate that. I put a lot of work into it, making it as realistic as possible. We're about 4 miles away. There's 101 still, looks like. Or there's a road. It looks like our airport's just north of the road there. Squim Valley traffic, November 8033 Fox route. We're going to be overflying the field at pattern altitude, doing a couple of 360s, Squim. It's one of those you blink and you'll miss it kind of airports. Alright, so I don't know if you can see, I'm going to try and slip it and hold it here. But there's a whole short line on that taxiway that wasn't there. That taxiway turnaround area wasn't there. Had to extend the hangars a bit. There was only one hangar and I needed at least 2 hangar objects to make that distance. Got rid of the fence. We have this grass taxiway area here. So now that I know there's an alternate turf area to land, I'm going to have to put that in there. We got Squim Valley. There were some objects that were there that shouldn't be. We got an old seaplane there, a couple of trailers. I didn't extend the road very far, you know, because we need to keep a tight airport boundary. Alright, so let's go ahead and put her down there. Kind of making a very tight turn here. Alright, because we have right traffic off of 09er. Alright, let me go ahead and... So we're on a right downwind. Squim traffic, November 033 Foxtrot on the right downwind. Runway 09er squim. No, yep. Yep, alright, we're good. Alright, let's get flaps 10. Squim traffic, November 8033 Foxtrot is making right base 09er squim. Squim traffic, 33 Foxtrot, right base final approach 09er full stop squim. No more than 30 degrees to correct that, so let's go ahead and just kind of slip it down in there. Transition that into a side slip. .249 feet per minute. Not my best, that's for sure. Yeah, so this whole short line wasn't here previously. Alright, let's taxi up here, we'll hop out, take a quick look at the airport, and proceed on to our next one. So I put a beacon right here beside this hangar. Again, now that I know it's in-op, I might just take that out before I send it to the gateway. What you kind of see here is an artifact of two different objects. I wanted to make this longer, but the issue is the object is placed, you know, at the height. So the object is placed at that. The height the object is placed at is at the middle of the object. So from what I can tell, it looks like, you know, this point here is maybe 2 or 3 feet lower in elevation than this point over here. But you know, for overhead and VFR, you know, I'll have to kind of line them up a little bit more. I'm just looking for a good footprint. You know, I want to make sure that my buildings kind of match the same size that they are. So that hangar does need slid over just a little bit there. We've got our segmented circle with traffic pattern direction. Sorry, don't mean to. Try not to make you seasick here. And then there's our Squim Valley. Parking ramp. I couldn't find a single fuel tank, you know, fuel tank. But this oil tank with this fuel box in front of it will do fine to represent a filling station. The hangar is a little bit bigger than the actual one, but again, I'd rather have a hangar there than like a garage, which was there before. And we've got a couple of trailers over here. So, yep, that's Squim. Did this one earlier this evening. Needs a little bit more touches. I want to add some taxi routes into it. But I'll throw this one and the one we're going to in my Discord for those that want to grab it later. Okay. Alright, let's talk about next one. That's where we're... What is it? Norman Greer. So this one we are going to need to transition. We have that fly chart. Let's take a look at that real quick. But we could use the fly chart, I'm sure. Although I'll probably just request a transition. So to get there from here, what do we have? How can we get there? Well, look at that. There's a view right there at Seattle. So we could use the Seattle Vortex. Which would be, look at that, 300. Seattle Vortex frequency 116.8. I don't think we'll get that here yet. It's going to be a 300 radial. And then that'll put us directly over Seattle, Tacoma. And then looks like we can grab that 104 radial directly to Norman Greer. How about that? That works. How can we safely get to our radial? Can we take off straight out? Looks like we can. We got a power line there. 2,900 feet, 4,800 feet. So our cruise altitude will probably be 5,500 feet. Let me go ahead and file a flight plan real quick, since we're going to be requesting a transition. Flight plan for VFR, November 8033 Foxtrot, type Cessna 206. Let me set this parking brake for now. Give my feet a brake. Gonna be slant golf. True airspeed. Bump it up to 140. Departure location. We're Whiskey 28. Arrival is Sierra 36. Cruise altitude 5,500. Alternate. Suppose we could choose Seattle. Yeah, we'll just use Seattle as an alternate. And that was a Seattle VOR as well, right? Okay. So once again, I want to thank everyone for coming in. If you've recently just joined us, we are down here at Squim Valley. Getting ready to depart and head over to Norman Greer Field. Should be kind of a challenging approach. That's going to be our final. And then time permitting, we might do a little bit of air work after that. Okay. What's a Seattle VOR? alternate, we'll do Seattle. Not using custom weather. Alright, let's file our flight plan. November 8033 Foxtrot, we are connected as that, so we're good to go. Parking brake off. Let's take 09er again. Oh, we don't want to go run over that. That's fresh paint. We just painted that. Trim's neutral. Cow flaps open. Squim traffic, November 8033 Foxtrot, back taxi 09 Squim. M. Stein, good night my friend. Thanks for coming in and hanging out. I appreciate it. I ordered that TRS plug, so hopefully that works out. So, when I first loaded this airport up, okay, I'm here, and that's what I'll do, is I just load into it, and then I'll get out of the plane and hop up and just see what it looks like. But you see these approach lights here? Yeah, there's a fence right behind them. I'm like, that's not right. Squim traffic, November 8033 Foxtrot, is taking 09er, gonna be straight out departure, Squim. Strobes are still on, okay, maps are up. Here we go. Let's keep that rudder in there, more right rudder. Airspeed's coming alive. And let's rotate. Pretty cloudy over there. Oh, we got our VOR now. We wanted 300 going to, right? There would be from, so we need 120 to head to it. No, we need 300. And then once we intercept that, then we'll make our turn. So each dot is indicative of 2 degrees. So right now we're a little over 4 degrees off of the 300. That's not right. We're past our radio, aren't we? We sure are. Hold tight. Looks clear. The sun was starting to set in Washington. Wind the clock back a little bit to give us some more daytime VFR. Alright, let's get up to 5,500. Yep, there's a marina down there, and that's what Sim Heaven does. It takes all of these landmarks and just it puts them all in X-plane. Alright, now we're getting closer. Now it's coming back in. I'm glad I caught that now. But that's also why I give myself an hour cushion each way, you know, from start to end, I guess. It's a pretty area over here. We'll say that much. It's not flat. Alright, so now we're about 3 degrees off of our radio of 300. But to point out, that's also from, remember, so this is grabbing the 300 radio from the VOR, so to head to the VOR we would fly the opposite, which in this case would be a heading of 120 once we intercept our radio. Just flew through a cloud. Let's see. High density traffic. There's a Mode C Vale. Seattle approach. So we're going to be arriving up on a heading of going to be coming from 300. Alright, there we are. We're intercepted. Let's get on a heading of 120. So we would probably want 120.1. Oh, man. I have to get out of this. No, we're not going up. Let's just punch through it. Surface 1,000. That's our first shelf there. 5,000, 7,000. Alright, so we'll be good there. We'll be good at the next shelf. Next one's 3,000. To 0.1. Alright. Can we see still? Kind of. Seattle approach, November 8033 Foxtrot.
Number 1 Sierra Charlie, contact NorCal 121.3. Calling Seattle approach, go ahead.
November 8033 Foxtrot, good evening. We are type 206 slant Gulf, 27 miles west Seattle VOR, northwest actually. Direct Norman Greer, request VFR flight following.
Number 8033 Foxtrot, squawk 5235 and say destination.
Squawk 5235 and we are Norman Greer, Sierra 36 is the final.
33 Foxtrot, roger. Your radar contact 28 miles west of Seattle. The altimeter 2948 and you're cleared to Bravo airspace.
9048 cleared to the Bravo, 33 Foxtrot.
7 Whiskey Tango, contact Albuquerque Tower. Tower, 7 Whiskey Tango.
Alright, well we got...
NorCal approach, hello, Honda Jet 10 Charlie, 14,000, descending 10,000, we have information, Charlie.
Sim Caesar. So we got our exclusive...
Number 1 Sierra Charlie, NorCal approach. Information Delta just came out. Expect localizer runway 28 left approach unless you want something else.
We'll grab Delta, we'd like the RNAV Zulu 28 left, 1 Sierra Charlie.
WestJet,
and we'll take that from Selena.
Welcome back. So we got our exclusive clearance through the Bravo, so that saved me from having to rattle all that off again.
Number 1 Sierra Charlie, cross Salinas at or above 5,000, cleared RNAV Zulu runway 28 left
approach. What is that?
Salinas at or above 5,000, cleared RNAV Zulu 28 left approach, 1 Sierra Charlie.
Now, if I didn't know any better, I'd say I could land there. What is that thing? Oh, train yard?
Albuquerque Tower.
That's a train yard.
737 Whiskey Tango on a visual for 26. 737 Whiskey Tango, Albuquerque Tower, runway 26, cleared to land. 26, cleared to land, 737 Whiskey Tango.
I'm hoping this kind of clears up before we get there.
Centennial Tower, Cirrus 523 Delta Lima with information Whiskey. At Charlie 1, run-up is complete, looking for VFR departure to the southeast, requesting runway 17 left.
Number 523 Delta Lima, Centennial ground, runway 17 left, taxi via Alpha.
17 left via Alpha, 523 Delta Lima, thanks.
Alright, let's talk about our approach again real quick. We had some power lines. We were gonna cross over the power lines at the 1.5 threshold end and stay on the inside of the other set of power lines and hug it tight and make a very hard 180 in the final. At least that's my current plan. I may get there and be like, yeah, that's not happening. But right now, that's our plan. Let's grab an ATIS from Seattle. .0.
Departing runway.
Advise on initial contact, you have information India.
Advise on initial contact, you have information November.
Seattle Tacoma International Airport. ATIS information India. 0253 Zulu. Wind 170 at 9er. Visibility 10. Ceiling 2,200 broken. Temperature 4. Dew point 0. Altimeter 2948. Arriving and departing runways 16 center, 16 left, 16 right. ILS runway 16 center, runway 16 left, and runway 16 right are in use. Simultaneous approaches to parallel runways in use. Simultaneous approaches in use between Seattle and Boeing Field. Traffic below you on final. VFR departures, contact clearance delivery. Advise on heading, altitude, and if flight following is requested. Read back all runway assignments and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information India.
Number 737 Whiskey Tango, taxi to parking via
Seattle
Alpha,
Tacoma
Mach
International Airport. ATIS information
via
India.
Alpha, Mach
0253 Zulu. Wind 170 at 9er. Visibility 10. Ceiling 2,200 broken. Temperature 4. Dew point 0. Altimeter 2948. Arriving and departing runways 16 center, 16 left, 16 right. ILS runway 16 center, runway 16 left, and runway 16 right are in use. Simultaneous approaches to parallel runways in use. Simultaneous approaches in use between Seattle and Wingfield. Traffic below you on final. VFR departures, contact clearance delivery. Advise on heading, altitude, and if flight following.
Robot voice was the ATIS coming out of Seattle. So wind is a 170 at 9er. We have broken at 2,200. That ought to be kind of fun. Temperature 4, 2948. We're still on our VOR radio. Sparky Pilot, hello again. Yep, we're here in the Seattle area. We are over the Orchard Lake. Almost over the Puget Sound. Puget? Puget? Is it French? So we, like I said, we got our clearance to the Bravo, so we're good there. Judge Fred, we are on the Pilot Edge network. The ATIS is broadcasted from the Pilot Edge servers. I don't know how they make their ATIS, but it's not a recording per se. This is live information that we're getting from the Pilot Edge network. So what you just heard was the live, was the real world weather information, but not from a real world controller. I guess it would be the lack of a better word. Semantics. He could be
Centennial ground, Cirrus 523 Delta Lima, at Alpha 1 holding short of 17 left, ready for takeoff.
Number 523 Delta Lima, Centennial Tower, taking direction of flight.
Still good on our radio there?
Looking for a westbound
on the
departure VFR for 523 Delta Lima.
103 Delta Lima, proceed on course, runway 17 left, cleared for takeoff.
Quick takeoff 17 left, 523 Delta Lima, thank you.
174 is going to be our outbound course from the Seattle VOR. And that'll take us directly to Norman Greer. We'll approach from the north. Hug those power lines. And see if we can't 180 her down in there. Alright, we do have visible moisture in the air. It is raining right now. Temperature is -2 degrees Celsius. I'm going to go ahead and turn my pitot heat on now, just in case. Okay, so we're 11 miles from the Seattle vortex. We're 11 miles from Seattle Airport. Which then we have about 10 miles to our final. Weather is 170 at 9er. That's not what I want. CTAF at 036 at 123.0. Let's get that on standby.
Number 10 Charlie at Salinas, contact Monterey Tower.
115.
Salinas, over to tower 10 Charlie.
I don't know if I'm going to fly directly. I guess I could. They cleared me for the Bravo. They didn't specifically tell me not to overfly the field. I am going to start a descent though. So let's pull this power back just a bit, put this prop in, put this mixture in, fuel, I'll tell you what, let me switch tanks real quick, fuel pump on, fuel's on both, air fuel's on right tank now. Gotta be vigilant about ice. Let's trim for this descent.
Walker 563, contact Seattle Center 125.1.
Where are we at? 23. I want to get back up to 2500 for now until we get over Seattle.
Walker 563, Seattle Center, descend at pilot's discretion, maintain 10,000. We're 523 Delta Lima, if you're still on frequency, turn your transponder on, and then frequency change approved.
Frequency change approved, transponders on, Series 523 Delta Lima, thank you. Monterey Tower, Honda Jet 1 Sierra Charlie is on the RNAV 28 left, swing us inbound.
November 1 Sierra Charlie, Monterey Tower, runway 28 left, clear to land.
28 left, clear to land, 1 Sierra Charlie.
And then on the outbound, if I remember, we needed 104 degrees off the radial. Directly over Seattle, Tacoma International.
NorCal approach, you're on 4131 Charlie, 2 miles to the west of Oroville, IFR to McClellan. Would like to pick up clearance.
90, that was a pretty hot day then, huh?
Squawk 563, the Lewiston altimeter 2945. November 4131 Charlie, Oakland Center, squawk 2116, maintain VFR.
2116, and I did file a IFR flight plan, but couldn't get it from the ground.
Roger. Yeah, if you try 122.2, that should work everywhere on the ground, but maintain VFR for now, because I can't give you the IFR clearance until I see where you are.
Got it, I forgot about that. 2.2.
Heading indicator to compass, let's make sure that's good there. Alright, so Norman Brew is just west, so there's that Lake Sawyer there.
We're 413 Charlie, radar contact over at the Oroville Airport, cleared to McClellan via direct, maintain 5,000.
4131 Charlie, cleared direct to McClellan, maintain 5,000.
So again, I do want to thank everyone for coming in and hanging out this evening. If you're new to the channel, please feel free to go ahead and give us a follow so you can catch our next flight. If you've come back, I do greatly appreciate it.
Grand Junction clearance, Cirrus 248 Bravo Charlie, IFR to Grand Junction.
Heading indicator to compass looks good.
Two 248 Bravo Charlie, Grand Junction ground, clear to Grand Junction Airport via the Grand 4 departure, radar vectors Loma, and then as filed.
4 miles out.
Maintain 10,000. Departure frequency 119.1, correction 119.7, squawk 2720.
Cirrus 248 Bravo Charlie is cleared to the Grand Junction Airport via the Grand 4 departure, radar vectors Loma, then as filed 10,000, 119.7, squawk 2720.
Winds were 170.
Right, Bravo Charlie, you're back correct.
We're going to be using runway 33, winds are 170. Going to have a tailwind. It's going to kind of push us. We need to keep that in mind. Channel approach November 8033 Foxtrot. Norman Greer's in sight. Please cancel our VFR flight following.
33 Foxtrot, Squawk VFR, frequency change approved, good day.
Over to VFR, frequency change approved. Thank you for your service, good day.
Squawk 563.
Norman Greer, November 8033 Foxtrot, about 3 miles northwest. We're going to be entering a left downwind for runway 33, Norman Greer. Is that what they call it? Is it, or do they call it Kent traffic? Who knows? Alright, field's in sight. Pattern's going to be 1500, so let's hang out here. Tell you what, should we do an inspection pass first? Nah, we'll be alright. Flex 10. We've got some power lines. Norman Greer, 33 Foxtrot, left base to final approach, 33, full stop, Norman. One set airspeed. Let's bring her right on in there. Watch that tree. Nope, nope. Going around, Norman Greer, November 8033 Foxtrot, it's going around, Norman Greer. Speeds up, flaps up. Norman Greer traffic, 33 Foxtrot, airborne up to 33, left crosswind, Norman Greer. Roll right into our downwind. There's power lines there. Just watch those. Alright, there's our power line easement. Let's take this a little bit wider this time. Flaps 10. Let's hug these power lines. Alright, this ought to give us a bit more of a final. Norman Greer traffic, 33 Foxtrot, final approach, 33, Norman Greer. Maybe. Maybe. We might have to round it out. Can we slip it down in there? Probably not. I mean, theoretically, I should already be going or be declaring a go around. Yep, we're going around again. My bad. We've got that tailwind just pushing us. Norman Greer traffic at 233 Foxtrot's going around Norman Greer. And we got that tailwind that's just pushing us, but I want that runway. Alright, lift the left wing, looks clear. Let's roll in. Let's keep her coordinated here. I suppose we could take it out a little bit longer and then overfly that power line easement. And we'll slip right down in as soon as we cross those power lines. Alright, back at pattern altitude. Oh crap, we just lost our engine. Now what? Let's get down to that runway. Feet AGL. Stop, 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 stop! No, 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 no! No, not in that swimming pool. Norman Greer traffic, November 8033 Foxtrot is clear, runway 33, Norman Greer. Alright. Here's what I want to try and do real quick. We're going to go ahead and use runway 15. We're going to take it back off. In fact, let me go ahead and disconnect from the Pilot Edge network before we do that. No, that's alright. Rest in peace to the Pence. Yep, very good point. But yeah, we just had that tailwind. That was almost 10 knots. But with the power off 180, I'll take anything I can walk away from if my stove stops working. Norman Greer traffic, November 8033 Foxtrot is taking runway 15 straight out, Norman Greer. Alright, let's get coordinated, stabilized here. Airspeed's building, there it is, let's rotate. positive rate. Alright, we gotta definitely BX out of here. We've got obstacles. Alright, clear obstacle. Alright, I need a body of water. Just in case. There's one right there. May not be big enough for what we're gonna try. Now, I've never attempted this before in real life or simulated and or otherwise, so I don't exactly know if it's gonna work. But what we do know is that the higher the climb, you know, more rudder we're gonna need. So let's try and hang this bird on the prop and see what happens. Oh, there's the spin. Alright, power back, ailerons neutral, elevator forward. Alright. Let's try that again. Let's get back up. Let's where we at? Let's do a couple clearing turns. Looks clear. Clear. Alright, let's see if we can play helicopter again. Here we go. Watch that rudder. Stay coordinated, Michael. There's a bird. Alright. Let's head back to Norman Greer and put her away. I heard about kind of along with it's the expression. If you're interested, you want to Google the terminology you want to look up is hang on the prop. You're basically hanging the aircraft from the propeller. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we get back to the FBO after we land. I don't actually know a whole lot of real-world pilots that do it. I do know one. He's actually at my home airport. He has an AG service. And I've got a video. Sparky Pilot, I'm in your Discord as well. I'll post a video in your videos channel for you to take a look at whenever. But you're essentially suspending the aircraft in the air, almost to the stall speed. It's about time to put her away. So let's see where we at. There's a power line easement. It's actually a bit clearer now, too. I think that rain has stopped a bit. It's gonna make this approach a bit more better. So there's our power line easement. Kind of makes an L shape right in front of the strip there. There's definitely some trees. Field elevation is 500, we're 5,000. With no wide arc, give me 10 degrees flaps. Northern air traffic, November 8033 Foxtrot, short final approach 334 south, Northern gear. Flaps 2. Full flaps. Slip it down in there. Transition. Still think there's maybe an issue with the ground handling. Hey Drippy, thanks for that. Kent traffic, November 8033 Foxtrot, back taxi, runway A15, Kent. So another issue, I'm just pointing this out again. When I loaded this airport up for the first time, I had buildings on top of buildings. Man, Sparky, I don't know what you said. Sometimes my robot is a little bit picky, so I do greatly apologize. Yes, I can't take credit for the airport. This airport. The only thing I can do is take credit for the exclusion zones that prevented doubling things up. But the airport design itself is not mine. Our first airport was. Okay, let's find a spot to hang out at for a bit. Hang out. Tell you what, let's flip back around and go to those long row hangars back there. I don't even know what a timeout means. Does that mean that my robot kicked the person off the channel, or does that mean that they just can't type anything for a little bit? I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure out why my robot is so temperamental. It's not the first time that's happened, so I do apologize. Alright, let's go down here. Looks fine. Okay, can't type. Alright. I was Parky Pilot again, I do apologize so much. I never mean for any of that to happen. Okay, alright. Here we are at Norman Greer. Slant Alpha, hello, welcome. Took me a minute there. Hope you had a good day there, Slant Alpha. You are quite welcome. So for those that don't know Slant Alpha, or his channel Slant Alpha Adventures, which I'm sure everybody here probably does, we run a lot of the same circles. Go ahead and give his channel a follow. Does some really great stuff with general aviation. There's a lot of controlling on the VATSIM network as well. So yeah, please go ahead and give him a follow. I credit a lot of what I know about Twitch and streaming to that man and his channel. So I'm indebted to him in that aspect. So thank you so much, Rob. I greatly appreciate it and all you do. All right, let's shut it down. Parking brakes going on. Avionics going off. Let's get all of our lights off. Okay, flaps are up. Let's get our G5 off. Props high. What else do we have here? After landing, flaps up. Cowl flaps are open. Strobes are off. Okay, mixture trim is reset for takeoff. Reset for center. Okay. Let's see. Make sure to rich or lean. Max to off. Master to off. Tech timeout 25.4. Parking brake is on. Let's go ahead and disconnect from Pilot Edge. The reason I wanted to stay connected to Pilot Edge is because when we were doing our prop hangs, I want to be able to go, I'm going to go back in and see if I can't see what that profile looks like.
Disconnected.
Okay, so we're disconnected from the Pilot Edge network. Okay, I will see you all over at the FBO. We'll chat for a little bit and debrief and say goodnight.
Alright, well there we have it. Forks to Squim Valley. Squim Valley. And then on to our final Norman Greer. That was an interesting one. I can understand how in the real world that could be a very challenging, approach. And it's probably not one that I would want to fly by myself the first time, to be honest. There's just so much there. We have all these little homes and hangars. We have these power lines that. We have this power line easement here that kind of creates this V. Let's get rid of that. So we have all these homes and hangar homes and things like that we had to be diligent about. And the reality on our first approach, we would have totaled our plane. But that's why we do this. That's why I do this. Okay. This is us. So you got your propeller. It's constantly spinning like this. And it's hitting that vertical stabilizer. Okay, it's constantly doing that, which is why as we go, as we accelerate down the runway and during our climb out, we need to put that right rudder in because that prop is just yawing us to the left all the time. So put that right rudder in to combat that. So, but when we're flying along. Okay. Then we transition. We're in a climb. Okay. But what happens if we transition even further to a point where we don't have enough momentum to climb, but we do have enough airspeed and momentum to stay? So as we're coming up, we're hanging ourselves from the propeller at this point. Okay, we're not climbing, but we're not falling or stalling. I've only known one pilot. I've only ever seen one pilot do it myself, and that was in a 300 horsepower 172 with 2-foot wing extensions, vortex generators, and a stall kit. Bush Fisher out of Fisher AG Services in Morrow County, Ohio is the only, and I know it's done all the time, but personally that's the only person I know that's ever done it. So everything I know about it has come from him. But when you're at this point, coordination is critical, absolutely critical. And we weren't even at this point. We were maybe right here, and my right foot, it was to the floor. I had no more rudder authority from the aircraft whatsoever. So that's why I'm curious what our climb profile was. So I should be able to find that on PE Aware, and I'll probably screenshot it, maybe post it in my debriefs or Discord screenshots or something. So yeah, I think that's it. Talked a little bit about scenery at the beginning of our stream. Highly recommend SimHeaven if you're using orthophoto scenery. They recently just updated it for the most recent X-Plane version. That is all for this evening. Wednesday and Thursday taking off. Friday I'll probably be real flying, and then I'm not sure what we're going to be getting into on a Friday night. Sparky Pilot, I greatly appreciate it. Definitely some fun airports. I'm always open to suggestions on airports to fly, especially, but little cool ones like this. And that one comment really is kind of. Let's see. He said, "Coolest airport in Washington." I think that's great. It's probably one of the best comments I've seen on ForeFlight. Definitely a fun airport. I'm gonna have to come back to that one, and I'll probably just, if I want to practice some unusual landings, I think I'll come here to practice. So excellent. Take some pictures while you're up, and maybe we can swap some real world flying photos Saturday after we're done flying. All right, everyone. I think that's about it for this evening. I want to thank everyone for coming in and hanging out. Flying is fun. It's always more fun when it's more than one, and you all make that happen. So I can't thank you all enough for that. Oh, Sparky Pilot, thank you so much for that subscription. Greatly appreciated. Didn't even see that. I missed that in the chat, so for that I apologize. WestJet, thanks for coming in and saying hi. Rob, hello again. I know saw you were in here earlier. Strandle, nice to see you again. M. Stein was in here earlier today. Hey Drippy, always a pleasure. Slan Alpha Adventures came in. And first time chat from Judge Shred. So thank you for that as well. If I did miss anybody, I do apologize. Sometimes it's hard to keep track of things in the chat when I'm flying the aircraft. So Slan Alpha, thank you for coming in. Always a pleasure, my friend. Real quick, I want to talk about a little bit about Flight Sim Expo 2023 coming up at the end of June 23rd, 24th, and 25th. I will be there. Hopefully, we'll meet some of you folks. I think Slan Alpha plans on being there, so that's going to be June 23rd, 24th, 25th. Check out FlightSimExpo.com for all the details on that. It is down at the Lone Star Flight Museum in Texas. Outstanding. So great. I think that's it. I don't want to say finally, but I think I'm finally it. I don't think I have anything else to discuss. We talked about hanging on the prop a little bit. We talked about some scenery design, and we hit our 2 fields that we planned to hit. So overall, I think it was a very successful flight. Didn't run into any hardware issues or anything like that. So let's figure out who we can send you over to continue your evening enjoyment. Tell you what, he looks like, I don't know how much longer he's got. I know we heard him earlier when we were flying. Actually, I tell you what, I'm gonna send you over to my buddy STW222. He's probably gonna be going for a little while. Stand by. Alright, scratch that. Alright, I'm going to send you over to Sim Caesar. Again, I don't know how much longer he's going, but always a pleasure to watch. You can tell him I said hello. Until the next time, you all take care and stay safe. And it's my pleasure flying with you. Have a great evening.